Start again. Ready? Go.
Yes, we're excited to be here.
Yay.
Are you guys ruining it?
Yes. Alright. So my presentation is about how you can use math and proportions to make your art look better. No questions. Alrighty. So, the overview of the speech. You go through the golden ratio, which is from ancient Greek times, triangulation, which is making lines to show the proportions and make sure everything looks right, and bringing it all together, which means you take the proportions and the triangulation and make a pretty picture. So, the golden ratio has been used since ancient Greek times. They used it in their sculptures, their pottery, and their architecture. It was first created by the philosopher Phileas and was later used by Aristotle and Archimedes. So, an example is the Greek pantheon. So basically, you take an item and you split it in half, and if it's proportionate, then you're good. Then you split it in half the other way and just keep going like this, and that's how you make sure it's proportionate if you can divide it in half infinitively. And everything follows this proportion, like a seashell and Donald Trump's ear. Now, triangulation is taking different lines and taking one point and going to another point and making sure the angle is straight. You can mainly do this by looking at someone's face. You draw a basic outline and then you pick one point to start from. Most people will start from the chin or the nose, and then you find the corner of your eye and measure. The way to do this is you take your pencil, hold it like this, and make sure that it matches up angle-wise. Then you bring it to your paper and draw the angle. You do this a few times to make sure it's perfect. By doing this, everybody has their own little triangulation. By doing this, you can make the picture look like the actual person. If the angle is wrong, then it might look weird. This could be used also for measuring if the angle of their nose is this way or the angle of their chin. It just helps make the picture look of the actual person. So they can do it for pictures like Marilyn Monroe, where they just find the different points and that way they can show it's her. Or you have the different points in the body, like part of the nose, the eyes, eyebrows, hairline, jaw, mouth. Anything can be used for triangulation. But you have to make sure your first point that you're pointing to with the picture is the one that's perfect first. If that one point you start with is messed up, then the rest will be messed up as well. Next is proportions. Everything is proportionate to itself. Factory-made items and human beings. The most common form of this is the Vitruvian Man, where it shows the guy with his arms stretched out like this, because if your arms from fingertip to fingertip is supposed to be how long your body is. Then you can also use your hands, your feet, your head. The most common one is measuring someone by their head. You take their head and you measure downwards. Most people are 5 to 7 heads for a woman and 9 to 8 heads for a man. This is also used in mechanical items such as a milk jug. You can take the lid and measure it downwards to figure out how tall it is. You can use this in your art by making sure you get the one item pretty proportionate and then you use it to measure downwards. Mainly, like I said, this is used by the head. In the following pictures, it shows the head of a character and then it measures downwards. The most common one is with anime, where you do the head and then you go downwards. Depending on how tall the person is by their heads will determine how tall the person is. And by doing the heads, you make sure they are in proportion to themselves. So, in conclusion, golden rule is all about proportions, and triangulation is also about the proportions. Once you learn this, you can bring it all together to create a better picture of art. And there's examples where these two, I did proportions by their heads to make sure that their bodies looked natural and normal. And for this one, I did triangulation from an actual picture, where I copied the angles and make sure that the lines all matched up to create this picture. Yay, it's done.
Did you draw this picture?
Yay.
Yes.
That's cool.
Hey, I thought